Hey writers, it's Megan, and I'm coming at you live today to talk about your characters and specifically how you can dig deep and find out who your characters really are. And this is inspired by a great question we got in the All Writers Welcome Academy earlier today, where somebody's working on character and she knows a lot about character but had some specific questions. And what this question put me in mind of is the fact that you, when you're writing characters, are writing them really from two different perspectives. There's the top-down view of your character where you know that person's job in the plot, right? Like, oh, Joe has to be the one to tell Susie that, whatever the this piece of news is, or Joe has to be the one to leave the door open so that the burglar gets in, right? This is a top down thinking. This is you as the author strategically using your characters and figuring out where they need to be and when so that your plot advances. And it's really, really important. Also important, though, is having a bottom up approach. And this means knowing who your characters are as people. So it's that second one that I want to talk about in this video. So if you have a question or a comment about character and about how to dig deep and find out who your characters really are, I invite you to put that into the comments. So what I'm going to do is walk you through some of the ways that I like to find out more about characters. Hey, Carrie, nice to see you. And what I'm going to do is invite you to think about what kind of approach would really feel friendly to your brain. How would the best ideas start coming to you? So I'm hoping there will be something here that sparks enough interest for you that you go, ooh, I'll try that. And I'm also really hoping that you all will share your strategies and ask me the questions that you have. So again, our goal is to think about who our characters are as people. And you can do this piece before or after you've done the top-down thinking about what you need from your characters in your plot. This is something you can do at any point, whether you're just starting to plan a story or whether you've been writing for a while on a story and you want to stop and go, who is this Joe character? All right, so no surprise for those of you who watch my videos or who are in the Academy, my number one choice for finding out more about your characters is free writing. This is where you take a break from writing your draft and you explore a detailed scene and you use a lot of description and you can use inner dialogue to really invite your mind to wander and to learn things that you didn't know you knew about your character. That's why free writing is really cool, because it switches you into a different part of your brain. And instead of planning and being analytical and going, oh, this has to happen for my story to make sense, you just wander. And you might be really surprised with some of the cool stuff you find when you wander. So a great free write to do if you are trying to learn more about a character is to have that character pick up an object, and it could be any everyday object, a photograph or a ticket or a book, and to just explore that object and let it be a springboard for a memory, a flashback, or an emotional response. So if you have a character and you need to know more about him, that's a really great way to do it. Okay, but the Academy member who asked this question said, I try to do free writing and it just doesn't work for me. So Caitlin, if you're watching, this is inspired by you. Okay, another great way to get into your characters and who they are is by doing a dialogue activity. And this could be, again, outside of the pressure of writing your story. It doesn't have to be something you feel like you're actually going to use and put into your draft, but just grab the character you want to know about and grab anybody else for him to talk to and go back and forth, create a conversation. And this is something you can do by writing, or you can talk it out. You can act it out and be both characters, And that's something that might be really appealing to you if you do some of your best thinking by moving around. So become that character and just start talking out, or maybe it's a monologue. Maybe you don't even need to bring somebody else into it, but just talk as that character, see what this person has to say, and let that just, again, allow your mind to wander and not feel restricted. You don't have to get to a certain destination. Your goal is just to explore. It's like going for a walk in a beautiful meadow, and you're not on a path, you're not trying to get anywhere. You're there because you want to look around and see all of the cool stuff. All right. So writing dialogue or acting out dialogue can be really helpful. Carrie says, I try to take from my own experiences and those experiences of my friends who are or were advocates for my respective main character. Ooh, intriguing. So it sounds like you are using what you know about real people to help you with your characters, Carrie. And that is always something that's helpful if you can make a link for yourself and go, okay, wait, I have a friend who, you know, whatever it is, has this interest or has this personality trait. You can absolutely use this. Joanne, what I mean by how to dig deep is how to get into the inner motivations, the hopes, the wants, the fears, the desires of your character, so that you end up writing somebody your readers really believe and care about, whether in a positive way or a negative way. We want characters, as readers, we all want characters who are really juicy, who have a lot of substance to them. All right. Another wonderful strategy for digging deep and for finding out what is making your character tick so you can write about him more clearly is to write a journal entry in the voice of your character. And this would be something you can do whether or not your character is the narrator in the story, or, you know, even whether the third person narrator gets to see into your character's head. Doesn't matter what your narrative style is. This is an exercise. It's not part of your draft. This is you going, how can I find out more about my characters so that I can add really interesting details to them when I write. So you just kind of put on, all right, now I'm Joe, and you go, oh boy, today. And if you guys have done some of our writing challenges, if you did the 5-day writing challenge recently, which is still going on, if you want to sign up for that. If you haven't done it, I will put a link in the comments. But one of the prompts was about the worst day ever, and the power of focusing on a journal entry is that a lot of stuff just comes naturally pouring out of us, even if we're taking on somebody else's character. So that can be a really great way. Dear diary, today, you know, what happened? What are the thoughts? Because you need to know why your characters are acting in the way they are. And I started off this video by talking about there's the top-down approach. You know, you need your characters to do certain things to make the story go. People have to meet somebody or get into an argument or take an action. But to satisfy your readers, and probably to satisfy you as an author too, there also has to be the bottom up, the internal reason why somebody is doing that. And when you can find the intersection point between why you need a character to do something and what that character's motivation is to do it, that is such a golden, wonderful, sweet spot. And that's something that will just make you feel so much more confident. Ooh, Carolyn, that sounds cool. 642 things to write about. Is that a website or a resource or a book? That sounds exciting. Can you give us some more info about that? All right. So I talked about free writing. I talked about writing dialogue or acting out dialogue. I talked about journaling. Something that can be really effective for writers, I know it's really effective for me, is just talking it out. Stop writing and just start talking. And this will look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. If you can, record it because you want to be able to track your ideas. But it's just allowing you to put out ideas without knowing where you're going. That's what really all these activities have in common. It's giving yourself the permission to explore what could happen, but not have to know for sure. So when you talk it out, you're getting the chance to say, what about this and what about that? If you're a person who generally thinks by talking, definitely try this. Also, if you're an auditory person, if you're somebody who learns things and can memorize them by hearing them, try this strategy. Because when you're talking it out, you're also giving yourself the auditory stimulus, and your brain is getting more engaged as it's hearing something. So you're talking and you're also listening, and you're like, would that work? And you're creating a really great brainstorming space for yourself. Oh, Carrie says she did the journal entries for her Hacker series characters, and she's hoping to add them to her blog at a later date when she begins really delving into their respective stories. What a cool idea. If you as an author go to the trouble of writing free writes to help you in your process, why not, oh, kitty sighting, kitty sneezing, why not also get some use out of them on your blog or sharing them in a newsletter if that's something that you feel comfortable with. Thumbs up, Carrie. I really like that idea where you're getting a little bit more use out of your free writes. Okay, and in addition to thinking by talking it out, you might also create a mind map, and this is simply where you just take a blank piece of paper and put, one idea down, and then as you start thinking of ideas connected to that, you just draw a line and then write the new idea and circle it, and you let one idea lead you to the next. And that's really effective for visual thinkers and for spatial thinkers, because what you can do is start grouping ideas into different places. You're like, oh, I really want to know what makes my character why he wants to do the thing that I as the author have to have him do. Like, why does Joe want to go to the pet store on Tuesday? And you just start putting down different possibilities, and you go, okay, like maybe he needs to buy bird food, and it's like, oh, but he already bought it last week, and so he needs more because he spilled it on the floor, and his girlfriend threw out the rest of it because she doesn't like him having a bird. I don't know, whatever thoughts come up, you'll just start exploring. You can see that was a totally like random string of thoughts I didn't know I was thinking until I said them out loud. But that's the point. You want to be able to explore the things that aren't available to you when you're in conscious planning mode. You want to go into your brainstorming creative mode. And then another really reliable way to do this, if you're somebody who is kinesthetic, is to get a whiteboard or get a really big piece of paper, because having bigger motions is going to trigger your brain into having more thoughts. So again, these are always a brainstorming, but whether you like talking things out loud because you think really well that way, or because you need to hear thoughts, or you like to do a kind of visual mind map, there is a strategy here that will just put you into your best brainstorming thinker mode. And that's really where you want to be. Some people think they're best while doing mundane tasks, washing your dishes, all of a sudden you're struck with a really great idea, or taking a walk in your neighborhood. So the overarching idea here is, in order to get in touch with the real motivations of your characters, you have to let go of who they are for your purposes. And you have to open yourself up to who they are for their own purposes. And to get into that kind of thinking, it really pays to go into your kind of subconscious, not planning, not analyzing mode. All right, so those are some ways that I really love to get into that mode. Does anybody have a question about character and character motivation that they wanted to pose, or does anybody have a comment or a suggestion? How do you get in touch with your characters and what they want and who they are and how they think? Do you have a strategy that really works for you? I would love to hear it. I've mentioned a couple times the All Writers Welcome Academy, because this question actually came from one of our Academy members. And I love when people ask really specific questions, because it just gets my wheels turning about, ooh, what would be a new course we could create for the Academy, or what would be a new resource? Ella and I are continuously adding courses to the All Writers Welcome Academy, because right now we are in early adopter mode, but the Academy is live. We do have people who are in it. We have fantastic people who are in it, and they're coming to our weekly live coaching calls. They are completing work on the courses in the Academy, and they're asking really, really great questions, and also being a really wonderful support for one another in our private Facebook group. So if you are interested in learning more about the Academy, I would invite you to make a comment on this video and to tag me in it, because we'd love to get you more information about it. There are so many positive things that are coming out of even just the community of these writers. It's really, really a special connection. We have writers who are, for the first time, finding that community, who are coming to us and saying, you know, nobody in my life has supported me around writing. In fact, I've got an awful lot of naysayers. And we're able to create a safe space where these people can write and get ready to market and publish their books and find that community. Oh, thanks, Carrie. Yeah, we love having you in the Academy and all of the questions and ideas that you bring. So if you would like to know more about the All Writers Welcome Academy, again, please leave a comment and make sure to tag me in it. And I'm not seeing any more questions about character, so I will sign off for now. And if more questions about character come up, or you want to leave a suggestion how you get in touch with your characters, then by all means, please leave that in the comments. All right, take care, everybody. Happy writing.